I just feel like, how am I going to do this?
Guys, we have all been following the Amy and Michael divorce saga since last month, and things have only gotten crazier and crazier since the news came out. I mean, we found out that Amy actually called the cops on Michael because he had allegedly gotten violent, and then they even had restraining orders against each other. But now, after all of this, we have an update that no one saw coming. So guys, I don't want to waste any of your guys' time. Let's get into it. So it seems like Amy and Michael might actually, believe it or not, be getting back together. So a week or so ago, this didn't even seem like to be in the realm of possibility, but she actually posted a TikTok with pictures from Tammy and Caleb's wedding, and the pictures not only had Michael in them, but even though we know for a fact that they are not getting along, but she captioned the pictures, "My little family." So even though that we all know that she's not technically family with him anymore, and I think in a normal situation it wouldn't be weird for a newly separated or a divorced couple to still call each other family, especially for the sake of their kids, but considering that we know just how crazy things got between them just a few weeks ago, it's pretty strange that Amy's still referring to Michael as family, and it obviously has people wondering if they're working on getting back together. But that's honestly not even the craziest part of this whole thing, because it only gets weirder from here. So we finally have access to their divorce documents thanks to Soap Dirt, and I'll get more into those in just a second. But the reason that that is so important is when it comes to Amy's TikTok is because the divorce documents specifically state that neither of them are supposed to be posting about each other or the divorce on social media, and Amy clearly immediately broke that rule. And then we got an update that she went even further with it, and it makes it pretty obvious, at least to me, that they might not be getting back together after all, or maybe she's just trying to get Michael's attention, because she changed her TikTok bio to say that she's a single mom of 2 kids, which again is just another way that she's talking about the divorce on social media, and also again is not something that she's supposed to be doing. But let's get back to these court documents because they're honestly pretty wild. So first of all, they confirmed the rumors that have been going around for a while about Michael, that he did quit his job, because the documents say that he's currently unemployed. But the even crazier thing is it said Amy isn't employed either. And it's like, what could that possibly mean? Because I'm sure there are many different meanings here, but it could mean that he just said that because 1000 Pound Sisters isn't technically filming right now, which I guess could mean that she's unemployed at this current moment. But even though we know that that's not the case because cameras have been seen with them. So it could also mean that she's just not employed as a typical employee, since filming for a reality show is usually contractor work, like she's not technically employed by anyone. But it could even mean that maybe the show got canceled recently, because it's entirely possible that the production crew, was filming before they got renewed for another season. But let's be honest, I mean, does anyone think that TLC is going to be canceling this show anytime soon? It is way too big of a hit for them to cancel it. So in my opinion, I think it simply means that she's not technically employed by the show. So he said that she's unemployed, but who knows? I mean, maybe there's more to the story. And they also mentioned that he doesn't know where Amy is living for sure, which is also pretty crazy considering that she has the kids and he doesn't even know where they are. He said that he believes that they're in Morgantown, Kentucky, which is where Tammy lives. And then there was something else that really shocked me most of all, and Michael actually filed for joint custody. And it's like, was anyone expecting this? Because I definitely was not. And after we've seen how little he's taken care of both of the kids since they were born, I just kind of assumed that he wouldn't even want custody of them in the first place. And since Amy is clearly their primary caretaker, but maybe he filed for it because he doesn't get joint custody, he'll have to pay Amy child support. And then on top of the social media ban, they're also not allowed to make public statements about the divorce, which I guess adds up with the fact that neither of them have said anything publicly. And when you think about it, everything we know so far about their divorce came from, quote-unquote inside sources and from public court documents. And then there's another part of this that's pretty crazy, and I don't know if I've ever seen a divorce filing that is this strict with communication, but in Michael's motion, he filed that he doesn't want either of them to be able to communicate with each other unless it's through their legal teams or through a court-approved app, which seems a little extreme if you ask me, but I guess we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes with these two, and it does make me question something. I mean, do we really think think that they're getting back together if they're not even communicating unless it's through a lawyer or court-approved app, and maybe they're just not sticking to the motion that Michael filed, but I can't imagine that they're able to forgive each other if they're not even speaking directly to each other. And then you have their finances, and I personally didn't expect Michael to get so specific with their finances in this motion, but maybe it's a standard thing that his lawyer came up with. But anyway, it's pretty strange, especially considering that they're pretty open about not having many assets, and it says that neither of them are allowed to drain their bank accounts or close their bank accounts. So what is he expecting her to do? Like, take all the money that she earned from the show? Even if she did, she'd eventually have to split it with him legally no matter what. And then you have their taxes, and maybe I just don't, get divorced at all, but this is just so weird to me, because in the motion, Michael said that he wants to file their 2022 taxes separately, and maybe this makes absolute, perfect sense, but they were married for all of 2022, so why would they file their taxes separately as though they weren't? And again, hey, what do I know? But it just seems kind of weird. And of course, I do have to mention that this is all just a motion that Michael filed. As far as we know, it hasn't been approved or denied by a judge yet, and the judge could decide to approve all or some or maybe even none of it. And it'll be really interesting to see what gets approved and what doesn't, and it'll be really interesting to see if they actually stick to any of it, or if they manage to work out their differences and get back together. So I don't know about you guys, but this is all just so insane to me. I never thought in a million years that this would happen, mostly because Amy is so reliant on Michael for basic things like driving her around, that it just didn't seem logistically possible that they could ever get a divorce. And I definitely didn't expect them to call it quits so soon after they started having problems. I mean, their youngest son isn't even a year old yet, which is really when things got stressful for the two of them. So it's kind of insane that they're not only separated, but he's already, legally filed for divorce, and they had to call the cops because of an altercation. So pretty crazy stuff, but what do you guys think? I mean, do you think that Amy's TikTok is a sign that they are getting back together, or do you think that they're still going through with the divorce? I know that all signs point to them getting divorced, but I just really can't imagine Amy calling Michael her family if they still were on the outs, and if things were as dramatic as they seem to be in the police report. But guys, like always, let me know what you guys think about all this craziness in the comments below.